Testing 1 2 3 because I recorded a whole video just an hour ago just for it to not have any sound, so I'm re-recording this video. I'm scratched. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Again, my name is Cilya. If you haven't met me before, hey family and friends, how are you doing? Welcome back. Today, I just wanted to share my experience having locks. I wanted to break it into phases. I'm going to break it into the beginning phase, intermediate phase, and the maturing phase. And I just want to share things that I was experiencing through each of these phases, what I liked about these phases. Now, disclaimer, these experiences that I'm sharing for each phase that I'm breaking up my journey into are based off of me individually. They're based off of me having 4C hair, so it probably differs within the range of months for other people. But I'm just telling you guys and sharing what I experienced during these phases of my journey, which I'm currently in the last phase. I think the journey is never over. It's a continuous journey, a continuous cycle, because I've mentioned in one of my other videos, when you get your retightening, you have that fresh new lock towards the base of your scalp. So it's kind of like that part of your hair is going through the journey all over again. So your hair is continuously maturing at all times and going through all three phases at all times. The first phase that I'm going to break this up into is the beginning phase, and I feel like this is the first 8 months of my lock journey. So this is when I got my locks installed all the way up to 8 months. I noticed a consistency of this happening. So when you first get your locks done, your locks are extra thin, extra coily. It's kind of like micro braids a little bit. It looks like that, it mimics that, but it stays very thin for those first few months. When you first get your locks installed, they have some length to them, but after the first week to after the first wash, they shrink. So after the first week, they shrink in size. After the first wash, the first couple of washes, they shrink again. So when you get your hair installed, expect it to shrink twice its size, if not 3. During this phase, I was doing a lot of braiding and banding to prevent slippage, to prevent unraveling. This is the most fragile stage of your hair because everything is brand new. So you have to do certain tasks to make sure everything is kind of going smoothly. So braiding and banding would kind of keep everything together so that when you're washing your hair, the slippage, you wouldn't experience your hair loosening up and unraveling and slippage happening. And something that I'm going to say, there's a slippage difference in the beginning stage versus the intermediate phase. I'm going to go over it more in detail in the intermediate phase, but for the slippage stage and the beginning stage, it's more so about unraveling. That's it. So unraveling and things loosening up. During this phase, I did not do any styling. If anything, the most I did was just like a pin up on the sides. Yeah, pretty much just a pin up. I didn't want to do any braid outs. I didn't do anything that had to do with compressing your hair or changing the curl pattern, any stretching or anything like that, because I didn't want to stunt the maturing process. I wanted my locks to get as thick as they can before I started doing styling, because I felt like if you started compressing and braiding, doing braid outs and stuff like that, that would thin out your hair and your final form of lock would be more thinner. It would be more thinner than what I would want it to be. Since this is the first time that I went without using oils, without using lotions, conditioner, all that type of stuff, jazz that I was using on my hair on a regular day basis to maintain moisture, I was in a drought. So in this beginning stage, I call this the drought phase, the dry phase. I was experiencing flaky white patches in my scalp, so it was probably a little dandruff in certain areas from dry scalp, but it wasn't really serious. Especially during the winter times, my scalp was a little more drier. With the dryness, I did experience a little bit of irritation because my body wasn't used to, my hair was just like, what's going on? Like, why aren't you moisturizing me? Why aren't you giving me some oils and conditioner? So it was kind of dry. It didn't really know how to produce its own oils yet. So this was my body responding to the drastic change. And in the next phase, you'll see what happens after that. Around the 3rd month, within this 8-month range, I did experience my hair started thickening up a little bit. It started getting a little thicker, a little bit more fuller. So I was really excited for that. But that kind of sums up. Oh, another thing for the first phase is my grid pattern. You could see your grid pattern clear as day. Like everything looked nice and neat. You could see like all the lines and everything like that. But I feel like the reason why you were able to see everything so clearly is because your locks, like the actual thickness of your locks, were thinner, so you can see your scalp better. We're gonna get into this next phase, which is the intermediate phase. This next phase is called the intermediate phase, and I feel like for the intermediate phase, this lasted from 9 months to 2 years. If I'm being honest, 9 months to 2 years. Okay. This phase, I call it the fuzzy phase. The frizzy phase. Everything starts spreading out, flying everywhere. Your hair is doing what it needs to do to start budding so that it gets thicker and it starts maturing. It's doing all that little jazz and stuff like that. My hair was so thick. This was the thickest my hair has ever been. It was very thick. It was very voluptuous. It looked so healthy. I just felt like, wow, like this is my hair. This was my favorite phase, as you can tell. Like this was like the phase for me. The curls on the ends of my locks started to lose definition. Everything was kind of like budding up a little bit. Because my hair was frizzy and it was fuzzy and there was a lot of hair particles spread out, it was very easy for my hair to get stuck and snagged onto things. Also, because since my hair was going all over the place, my grid pattern, whenever it came to me getting reties and stuff like that, it wasn't as defined, or you couldn't really see it as much as how I saw it within the beginning stage, those first couple of months, because my hair was way more thicker. Something that stood out to me during this phase was bunching, because my hair was getting thicker and it was starting to mature and lock. There were certain areas in my hair where there was like a really thick area of the entire shaft of the lock, and that was called bunching. So I had to do certain things, like I had to braid and band a certain way. My braid and banding had to be a little bit more strategic. I had to do smaller parts or smaller sections, and I had to braid a little tighter to condense everything so it would look more uniform. I wouldn't have random like really thick parts of my locks. I was experiencing less dryness, less irritation in my scalp, because my scalp was starting to produce more oils. So it was starting to produce its own oils. And I was also taking supplements, vitamins, taking yogurts that had probiotics in them. I was doing everything that I needed to do internally so that I was eating what I needed to replenish and moisturize my skin and my scalp. Something that I noticed about this phase, now being in the maturing phase and currently where I'm at right now, is that phase is the fullest, voluptuous, and thickest your hair will be. So you have to treat that phase with tender, loving care, because that's the phase where you are kind of like setting up the foundation of how your hair is going to look for the rest of its journey. So I wasn't really doing styling. I wasn't doing braiding and banding, curls, or any of that either, because it was still maturing, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy I did it. I did it more towards the end, like towards year 2. I got my like first braid out, I think it was like a year and a half or something like that. But listen, I'm so happy I didn't start doing it ahead of time, because it would have made the locks, I feel like my hair would have been thinner. For this phase, slippage. Okay, so this is the comparison with slippage for the intermediate phase compared to the beginning stage. Beginning stage, when I had slippage, it was just unraveling towards the scalp or towards the end. The intermediate phase, because my hair was more tangled and locked, the slippage that I was experiencing was more towards the scalp, but it was more so I can lose a lock. Nothing was really unraveling anymore. Everything was pretty tangled up. But this was the phase where I was losing locks. I didn't lose locks in the beginning stage, really. I was losing locks during this phase, and I don't lose locks now. And I think the reason why I was losing locks during this phase, the intermediate phase, is because with my hair being so fuzzy and growing out of place and growing outwards and budding and doing what it needs to do to mature, my scalp was a little bit harder to manage. So there was hair kind of like flying everywhere. And if there wasn't enough hair in one lock, it would be easy to lose a whole lock. So I experienced losing like probably like 3 locks during this phase. So for this phase, you can really see the growth in your hair, not only in length, but how it's growing outwards, how big it is, how it's sprouting and everything like that. So, but you did experience shrinkage. However, I can see the length retaining a little bit at the same time. And I wouldn't really get to see how much I retained the length until I got my retie. It kind of shrunk a little bit towards the scalp. After like 2 to 3 weeks after I did a wash, it would drop. And then I would be like, okay, I gained like ½ an inch. I can really see it there. So that's how I would gauge if I gain length for the intermediate phase. Now we're going to get into the last phase, or the current phase that I'm in, which is the maturing phase. This is the maturing phase. This is the current phase. It all varies, honestly, how long it takes for your hair to mature. I know I'm still maturing right now, and I'm on my way to 3 years. I noticed there was a point in time where my locks just stopped getting thicker and things started to condense and compress and look more neater and uniform. They weren't frizzy anymore. Everything looked more in place. The fuzziness was more absorbed and my hair wasn't changing in appearance too much. However, with certain areas of my hair, I did notice that certain areas of my hair were thriving thickness wise versus other areas of my hair. Like there were certain areas of my hair, sections of my hair where the locks were a little thinner, and then there were certain sections of each lock that there were like thinner spots and thicker spots, and that's just how it matured a little bit. So it made me kind of like tune into treating those certain sections of my hair according to how they looked and how they matured. My ends look sealed. I don't really experience slippage that much anymore. I don't braid and band anymore. The moisture's there. If anything, if my scalp's a little dry during the winter time, or if it's just dry here and there, it's not too major. I don't experience the white flakes or dry scalp anymore. It's just more so if I have a little bit of irritation in a certain area, like a little dry spot, I'll just spray some aloe vera juice and distilled water. Something I have noticed though are the white follicles. Because I've had my hair for like, I feel like because I've had so many retightenings, and I'm like kind of like I have a good amount of months / years underneath my belt in my lock journey, I'm starting to see the dead hair follicles. So those white bulbs, I don't know if you guys saw that short that I made about the white bulbs that are sticking out. That's the dead hair that's supposed to shed off, but once you get your retie, it's still inside your hair. So it's kind of like broken parts of the dead hair that's inside your shaft that shows. And the only time I see them is after I wash my hair and I get a retie. So that combination of washing and getting a retie makes those dead follicles stand out more. It's easy to maintain moisture in my hair. My scalp is less irritated right now because it's kind of like, okay, I understand what's going on. This is the time where I went crazy with the hairstyles. I did the twist outs, braid outs, satin silk rollers, bantu knots, pipe cleaner curls. I was going crazy with the curls. I started even doing the color sprays. This is a fun time also, honestly. I can't decipher if I like the last phase more or this phase more. I feel like I like the last phase more because of how thick it was, but this phase I like how much I was able to do and how much I was able to experiment currently right now too. I'm not really too scared about my locks thinning out because they're pretty mature right now. The only thing is I have to just pay attention to certain areas that are weaker and not apply too much tension in those areas. During this phase, you are able to see the length retain. People are like, oh, your hair is growing so fast, and I'm just like, girl, the length is just retaining. The shrinkage phase is over and everything is just inching now. Like I'm looking back at videos and I'll see myself like 2 months ago where my hair is like this, and all of a sudden, like when I wash it now, currently it's like this. I'm like, wow, like that is fast. Because there's not really that much shrinkage anymore, so your hair is really growing. After that 2.5 3 year mark, your hair will start to, you will start becoming Rapunzel. My reties are defined again. I can see my scalp clearly. My grid is more neat. because my hair's not as fuzzy. Everything is more contained and under control. So that's a plus too. I'm gonna go over, that kind of like sums up the last phase, but I do want to go over certain things that I liked about each phase and what I've learned about each phase of my hair journey. The beginning phase, we're gonna start off with, I just learned to, I felt like I kind of like dived into it, like head first, not expecting what was gonna come out. I was kind of scared at first because of the ugly phase. I was like, I know everybody's talking about the ugly phase, it's the first couple of months, but I was just like, I don't care. Like, and I couldn't afford to get my hair done over the twists, over the locks and wear wigs. I'm not a wig girl, I'm not a wig gal. Like, I'm not gonna do that. So I was just like, it is what it is, and I just wore my hair out and I embraced it. And I feel like that first beginning stage kind of set the foundation of, this is where I'm at and I need to accept myself, because this is a decision that I made for myself and I need to work with what I got. I'm happy that I did that, because it made me embrace the journey more, and it made me look forward to more things that were coming in the future. It made me more understanding towards myself, and it made me more flexible with showing my beauty in only ways that I have to offer, given with what I've gotten. Second phase, which is the intermediate phase, I just felt healthy. Like, I felt so healthy. I felt so nice that I didn't have to have any weave in my hair. I didn't have any product. It was just like, it was like a spiritual awakening. If I can say that, like, because I just felt more in tune with my body. I felt more confident. I felt more in my groove as far as like my routine. There's no hiccups that I was expecting in regards to my hair. I knew that if I woke up, I'm gonna be fine because my hair is did. I knew that if I was on vacation, I didn't have to worry about $200 to spend on my hair because my hair was done. I knew that if I was going to a formal event, I knew how I was wearing my hair. It was plain and simple, because I set that routine and understanding of me comfortable with how my hair was. But I really liked the second phase. I did learn that there were some good and bad parts during the second part of the journey, but that's when I transitioned locticians. That's when I switched locticians, and I learned quite a few things, but one of the most important things that I had to learn is you really do have to go with the flow with the journey of your hair, and you have to switch up things that's best for your hair, switch up things to aid in your journey going the right way, or to aid in your hair type and what you expect for yourself out of the journey. So that's something that I liked about this second part of this journey. The third part, which I'm in right now, I'm along for the ride. I'm so proud of the decision that I made of locking my hair. I look back at that initial decision. I look back at how I was pondering and thinking, like, do I want to do this? Like, am I going to be able to do this? And I'm so happy that I did it. Like, we're here right now and we're maturing, we're growing, things are getting better. I'm kind of like in my groove as to how things go, and I'm happy where I'm at. This concludes the entire video. I hope this video really helps somebody who is thinking about getting locks. I wish there was a video out like this for me for when I was expecting to get locks, so I can kind of gauge like how things would go if I were to lock my hair. So that's why I'm sharing this with you if you're thinking about locking your hair, what to expect. But this is from my experience. Everybody's experience is different. I'm just sharing mine just to help you gain insight. And the people that are on their journey right now, whether you just recently locked your hair or if you're in any of these phases, please comment down below and just share your experiences and which phase you think you are in and what you're experiencing, what you like about it, and if you can relate to some of the things that I'm saying. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope everybody who is going through their journey is giving themselves patience, and I hope you guys are really taking it day by day and embracing the beauty out of this journey, looking back at the pictures and taking everything in, because it moves by so fast. It moves by so fast. But love you guys. Have a good night. Bye.